All right, let's journey back in time, way back. We're talking more than 4,000 years ago to a mystery that still has historians scratching their heads. We're going to dive into one of the world's first great urban civilizations, a society of absolute geniuses who built cities so advanced they made 19th century London look kind of primitive in some ways. Seriously. But here's the kicker. They did it all with a massive, stunning secret.
So this whole thing really boils down to one fascinating question. I want you to think about this for a second. Every great empire you can name, the Romans, the Egyptians, what do they all have in common? Well, it's usually power, conquest, big armies, right? But what if there was another way? Is it even possible to build a massive civilization, organize millions of people, and create these incredible cities for centuries, all without a powerful king, a huge army, or, any real focus on war?
Okay, so the people we're talking about are from the Indus Valley civilization. They flourished in what's now Pakistan and northwest India. And get this, at its peak, this civilization was bigger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. We're talking about these huge, sophisticated cities like Harappa and Mohenjo Daro. These people were brilliant, they were super organized, and they are just a complete and total enigma.
So, to even begin to unpack this puzzle, we've got to start with their genius. I mean, these people were engineers, first and foremost. Their cities weren't just places where people lived. No, they were absolute masterpieces of urban planning. So let's dig into the hard evidence, the stuff they left behind that proves just how brilliant they really were. Just look at this list. It's honestly incredible how modern it all feels. First off, highly organized grid-like streets, just like a modern city block. Then you've got the world's first known urban sanitation systems. Think about that. And this next one, this is what blows my mind. Uniform, mass-produced bricks. A brick baked in one city was the exact same size as a brick made hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That suggests a level of coordination across this huge area that is just, wow.
And let's zoom in on that plumbing for a second, because it is a total game changer. We're talking about most homes, not just the rich folks' houses, having their own toilets and bathing areas, all hooked up to a citywide sewage system. The wastewater flowed through these covered brick-lined drains, keeping everything clean. They even had manholes for maintenance. Can you believe that? This idea of public health for everyone was completely revolutionary for the ancient world. So you see the pattern here, right? It's all about standardization. The identical bricks, the cookie-cutter city layouts, the standard weights for trade, it all screams highly organized society. It points to some kind of central coordination. But, and this is a huge but, that kind of top-down control usually comes from one place, a powerful king, an emperor, a pharaoh. And when we look for that guy in the Indus Valley, he's just not there. The evidence is completely missing.
And this is where the story gets really weird. It's the case of the missing warfare. When archaeologists dig here, what's most shocking isn't what they find, but what they don't find. All the typical signs of a great ancient empire, they're just gone. It's almost spooky. Just look at this contrast. It couldn't be more clear. In one column, you've got Egypt and Mesopotamia. What do they build? Giant tombs for their kings, huge palaces, monuments to their military victories. Their art is all about glorious rulers and battles. Okay, now look at the other column, the Indus Valley. What were their biggest public projects? Not palaces, but giant public baths and wells. Their legacy isn't an arsenal of weapons, it's an urban sewer system. Their priorities were just on a completely different planet. And this right here is the absolute heart of the puzzle. We're talking thousands of excavated sites, and there is a shocking lack of evidence for war. Almost nothing that you can say is definitely a weapon. Their city walls, they don't really look like they were built to stop an army. And maybe the biggest clue of all, there are no grand statues of kings, no carvings of battles, zero celebration of conflict, none. It's like they were a massive civilization that just opted out of the whole war thing. So, what gives? How on earth do you run a civilization this big, this organized, this advanced, without the usual stuff, without kings and armies? It really makes you stop and rethink what power even means. What if their strength, what made them great, came from a totally different place? Maybe their power wasn't concentrated in one person. Maybe it was more about social organization, a shared culture, or set of beliefs that held everyone together. What if it was built on economic cooperation, trade, instead of force? What if they just collectively decided, hey,
Instead of building weapons, let's build better sewers. It points to a society built on a kind of cooperation that, honestly, we still have a hard time with today. And really, that's the big idea I want to leave you with. The Indus Valley people offers this completely different version of history. It's a story that isn't all about kings and glorious battles. It makes you ask this really powerful question. What if their real strength, the source of their power, wasn't in swords, but in systems? What if their greatest weapon wasn't a weapon at all, but the brilliant design of a city?